Asgore has the most miserable existence in all of Deltarune. Asgore was once the chief of the entire police force, but after his best friend's daughter went missing, he failed to solve the case. He was fired from the force, and she was never found. Asgore's favorite hobby is shoving flowers in his ex-wife's face and hopelessly begging her for a second chance. Asgore's main source of nourishment is free pickles from his ex-wife's boyfriend. You might think I'm slandering the guy, but I'm not even trying to. It's just that this man's life is so bad that just talking about it seems insulting. The most tragic thing about Asgore is that he genuinely has good intentions, but the way he tries to help actively hurts the people he loves most. The first time we meet Asgore, he runs up to Chris, picks them up, and gives them a big hug. He awkwardly puts Chris down halfway through though, and then he says sorry cause he kinda forgot if Chris is comfortable with hugs, but did it anyway. Now, is Asgore evil for hugging his kid without their permission? Yes! No, it's not that big of a deal. But it's the first example of him trying to do something good without thinking about what the other person actually wants. Asgore's conversation with Chris is really sweet though. He tells them that when Azrael comes back from college, they should all head to the diner and eat as a family, just like old times. On its own, this conversation is just Asgore being a good dad. But there's a problem. I checked, and every single conversation between Asgore and his family goes exactly like this one. He makes small talk, yaps about the good old days, and then makes a desperate, forced attempt to reunite the family. This time, Asgore hands Chris a bouquet of flowers, telling them it's a gift for Toriel and calling the whole thing our secret. Asgore doesn't even realize it, but he's using Chris as a tool that he uses to win back Toriel's affection. The second Chris comes through the door, Asgore's secret is instantly blown. Toriel happily accepts Chris's gift for a split second before she immediately realizes that Asgore put them up to it. Now, if Asgore gave her the gift himself, she could just respectfully tell him to f*** off like she always does. But by using Chris as a shield, Asgore puts Toriel in a really bad position. She has to either accept the gift and lead Asgore on, or risk hurting Chris's feelings by rejecting their gift. But hey, at least Asgore won. Toriel does accept the flowers from Chris, and they end up finding a happy home in the living room's trash can. So that's nice. Toriel's life has pretty much become Five Nights at Asgore's. Her ex-husband puts her into a really awkward position every day, and she's just forced to deal with it. The day after the bouquet incident, Toriel heads to Sans' store for some forgotten eggs. Sans challenges her to an egg pun war, and she honorably accepts. For this brief moment, Toriel isn't an ex or a mom. She's just a goat lady making stupid egg jokes with a skeleton man. It's a simple, happy interaction. She fires off one final, terrible pun before tragedy strikes. And don't forget me, your ex-husband! What follows is absolute silence. Sans turns around in despair. Toriel is forced back to reality, forced to deal with her ex-husband once again. Asgore realizes that he hasn't tried to give Toriel flowers yet, so he tries to give Toriel flowers. Toriel shuts everything down. She doesn't say bye to Sans, she doesn't cause a scene with Asgore, she just wants to leave. She walks through Asgore and dashes towards the exit. Asgore doesn't understand. He genuinely thought that as long as he had good intentions, Toriel would be happy with him hijacking her conversation. Instead, he said one thing, and the conversation instantly died. Toriel used to love Asgore, by the way. He used to have a family that loved him. He used to eat at the diner together with Toriel and the kids. The kids! Toriel is inches away from the exit. In a desperate, forced attempt to keep the conversation alive, Asgore uses the only thing still chaining them together.
So, when Azrael comes home.
Asgore won. Toriel turns around and faces him again. She suggests they should all discuss it later. Asgore cheerfully agrees. The conversation dies again. Anyway, now that Toriel's gone, Asgore can pick up his free pickles from Sans. He also asks Sans what type of flowers would make Toriel love him again. Asgore doesn't understand. I think Toriel is mad at him. The day after the ex-husband incident, Toriel takes Chris and Susie to church. Once the sermon's over, she invites the kids for a treat over at the diner before she has to head back for choir practice. By total coincidence, Asgore stops hiding behind a tree and charges towards Toriel. While she's still in shock, Asgore kneels down and does the unthinkable. He tries to give Toriel flowers. Toriel isn't doing this again. She cuts him off mid-speech and apologizes, saying that she has to go. She doesn't go to the diner or take Chris and Susie with her. She just goes home. Asgore failed. He talks to his flowers, telling them that they tried their best. He just hopes that he can turn everything back to normal before Azrael comes back home. So that's why he's doing all of this. Every desperate bouquet that he's giving, every forced meeting with Toriel, this entire time, they were all hopeful and heroic attempts to reunite his family before his son came back home and witnessed his newly broken family. Azrael's coming back soon. Coming back to his parents separated. Asgore wants Azrael to feel shocked by this. He wants him to feel betrayed. But he won't. Asgore and Toriel separated years before he went to college. So why would he? After the divorce, Asgore's flower shop became his new home. His bedroom is littered with bags of dirt and rent due notices. His only decorations are 7 differently colored flowers. These are the flowers that he gave to Toriel on their wedding day. These are the flowers that he gives her every day. He forces the flowers to stay alive despite the terrible climate. He cannot let them die. If he did, he would have to accept that his dream is finally dead. In Asgore's mind, it was perfect. His family was perfect, and everyone was happy. But now, he's stuck in a flower shop instead of his house, and his wife doesn't like him anymore, and he keeps trying to fix it, and it never works, and the only people left that want to talk to him are the flowers. And it was his job to find her, and he didn't, and everyone blames him for it, and that's why he needs to find her. Because in Asgore's mind, he's always been one lost girl away from becoming a hero again. The missing girl's name was December Holiday, and we don't know much about her. Her dad is really sick and is almost always in the hospital, and her mother is the town's mayor. She was the one who fired Asgore after he failed to find her daughter. The mayor didn't just fire Asgore, though. She also gave him the flower shop as a gift right after. She didn't stop there either. She also hired him to housekeep her mansion. She gives him even more money by doing this, while also letting him run around in her house. With no context, this sounds insane. The police chief failed to bring my daughter home, so I rewarded him with a flower shop and a stable income. And he's in my house. Seriously, though. The mayor, Carol Holiday, helped Asgore for a simple reason. They were family. The Dreamers and the Holidays had known each other since they were in college. Their kids grew up together. Azriel and Des hung out all the time, right until the day she disappeared. In Asgore's mind, losing Des is what truly destroyed him. The Holidays didn't hate him, but Chris and Des's little sister stopped being friends, and Azriel was all alone, and they stopped being a family. And even his own family, they sent him away to a flower shop, and they don't need him anymore. They've learned to live without him. For the last few years, Asgore has been stuck in a dark world. A world where he's slowly being forgotten by everyone. Exactly like what's happening to Des. And that's why she needs to be found. If he finds Des, she'll be loved again, she'll be remembered again, and it'll be like she never left. If he finds Des, he'll be remembered for the hero he was. They'll welcome him back home, and it'll be like he never left. And that's why he needs to find her. Looking inside Asgore's basement, all you'll find is a corkboard and documents strewn all over the floor. Even after all these years, he's still trying to find the Holiday's daughter. He's still trying to find her because he failed Des and her family, and he's trying to make things right. And he's also doing it because it's his only chance at getting his family back. Now, is he selfish for that second reason? Yeah, he is. But he's not just doing this for himself. Just like how he made a funny joke at the grocery store. He wasn't doing it for himself, he was doing it for Toriel. He wanted to make her laugh. Or when he gave her flowers outside of church. He wasn't doing it for himself, he was doing it for Azriel. And it's the exact same thing with Des. Just like those other times, Asgore has good intentions. While cleaning the mayor's room, Asgore starts talking to himself. And he shows just how important Des is to him, and he explains exactly why he's been trying so hard to find her all this time. This is what he says.
We're almost there, aren't we, old friend? This time for sure, Tori will finally see what really happened. That I just wanted to protect everyone. And this time, she'll have to believe me. They all will. Then we'll all be a happy family again. Won't we? It sure is beautiful, isn't it? This black shard.
How much he cares about her. Notice how he never mentioned Des a single time. If he finds Des, Toriel will finally realize that his obsession with the case was worth it, and she'll finally love him again. If he finds Des, the town will finally realize that the mistake he made was for a good reason, and they'll once again see him for the hero he is. If he finds Des, his family will finally go back to normal. His family. His healthy, present family. Not the holiday family, the family with the actual missing child, and the dying father in the hospital. No. They're not even mentioned. Because his family is the one that actually needs saving here. Asgore doesn't even realize it, but he's using Des as a tool. A tool that he uses to win back his family's affection. And the worst part is, if you look at this from Asgore's perspective, Des not being on his mind makes perfect sense. To everyone else, the Des case is a tragic but simple story. A girl went missing, and she was never found. But to Asgore, it's the story of how he was cheated out of his perfect life. Based on what Asgore says, he saw something while searching for Des. Something impossible. He protected the town from whatever the hell it was, but he lost Des in the process. He tried to explain to everyone what really happened, but his story was completely psychotic. They just thought the police chief was going insane after failing everyone. He began endlessly arguing with Toriel. Chris and Azriel could hear them fighting through the walls. Asgore begged Toriel to believe him. He was trying to protect everyone. But it was hopeless. She labeled him as crazy, just like everyone else did. Giving Asgore the flower shop seemed like the best thing to do. It would allow him to move on and build something new. But the mayor didn't realize who Asgore was at this point. Why would he care about running a flower business? Everyone would just look at him and see a crazy flower man anyway. So what would even be the point? The flower shop never had a chance. It was immediately turned into a place where Asgore could continue fueling his obsessions. During the night, he stares at a corkboard in hopes that it'll change his future. And during the day, he waters the only thing keeping his past alive. The mayor is getting tired of Asgore using the flower shop like this. She personally writes a rent due notice to Asgore, telling him to stop giving away flowers for free and start selling them to people so he can pay his rent to her for once. She ends the letter by giving him one last month to pay her back. Asgore doesn't really care. The flower shop was always a waiting room for him anyway. And tomorrow, he's not gonna need it anymore. After years of hard work, Asgore will finally prove to everyone that what he saw was real, that he wasn't crazy. Toriel will see what really happened, and this time, she'll have to believe him. In Asgore's mind, he's almost there, isn't he? It sure is beautiful, isn't it? This black shard. Asgore has created a dark world for himself. A world where his son coming home from college isn't a countdown, but a deadline. A world where his former wife is an unwilling actor in a story that never changes. A world where nothing new is allowed to bloom. Not until he's proven everyone wrong. This is who Asgore is now. And it sucks. The most tragic thing about Asgore is that he wants to be a good dad. But because of who he chose to become, He can't even make happy memories with his kid anymore. When Chris visits the flower shop, Asgore excitedly asks Chris if they want to have a sleepover at his shop. He starts planning everything out. Chris could sleep on the air mattress, and Asgore could sleep on, a bed made of bags of dirt. Asgore realizes it was a stupid idea, and he forgets it. The last time we meet Asgore, he talks with Chris after he cleans the mayor's toilet. He does a crisscross applesauce on her porch so he can eat some meat and cheese. Asgore talks to Chris about how gardening was always a hobby of his, and how that makes selling flowers really hard for him. They're just meant to be given away to the people you love. He also tells Chris that he's gonna try really hard to sell flowers at the festival tomorrow. He wants to make enough money to take Chris and Azriel to the diner when he comes home. He then winks at Chris and tells them that there might even be some leftovers for Toriel. Okay, Asgore. He then tells Chris that he might look silly cleaning toilets for cheese, but that it's worth it. He stops talking, as if searching for something, and tells Chris that it will all be worth it. This is the Asgore we've known since the very beginning. And tomorrow, no matter what happens, he'll be gone.